What's up, basketball fans? My name is Josh and I am back with a brand new video. The Cleveland Cavaliers have been struggling in more ways than one, but their struggle all begins on the defensive end. They've struggled to defend practically every team in the NBA, and a lot of this has to do with their personnel. The Cavs, simply put, just don't have guys who can consistently defend on a nightly basis. One of these guys is All-Star guard Isaiah Thomas. Last year, he was one of the best players in the league and even finished top 5 in MVP voting. IT, who was dubbed the king of the fourth quarter, led the Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals last year until he got injured. His injury and recovery has been well documented, and when he came back in early January, he's been nowhere near the one-time MVP caliber player that he was last year. With the trade deadline coming up, there's a chance the Cavs might consider trading Isaiah Thomas. They could trade him for a guy who is younger and a better defender than him. Now, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit that sub button to stay up to date with the NBA videos. Also, I would like to give a shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. SeatGeek is an app that makes buying tickets online really simple. You can download the app by clicking the link in the description, and we'll hook you up with $20 off your first order if you use my promo code JOSH. Big thanks to SeatGeek, but now, let's get into the video. So far this season for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Isaiah Thomas has been atrocious on the defensive end. A lot of this has to do with his injury, but also with his height. At 5'9", there's only so much that you can do on the defensive end. IT is also a free agent this summer and is expecting a max contract and big money from the Cleveland Cavaliers. At 29 years old, I'm not sure if the Cavs even want to offer a max deal to a guy like Isaiah, especially with the future of LeBron in the balance. We don't know what LeBron's going to do, if he's going to leave, if he's going to stay, and if he ends up leaving, IT is probably gone too. That would completely void the Kyrie Irving trade, and that's something the Cavs don't want to do. Kyrie was your franchise player. At just 25 years old when he was traded, Kyrie is a guy who has so much potential, and now he's no longer a Cavalier, he's a Celtic, and you're stuck with Isaiah Thomas. And now, don't get me wrong, Isaiah Thomas is a superstar caliber player, but does he fit the mold of the Cleveland Cavaliers? So far, he hasn't. That brings me to this question: who can the Cavs acquire if they trade Isaiah Thomas? Well, that guy, if possible, would be Kemba Walker. Kemba is no Kyrie Irving, but he's still an all-star level point guard. There is absolutely no wait and see with Kemba. He's in his prime and he's healthy. And with a great jumper, Kyrie Irving-like dribbles, the ability to make floaters and scoop layups, you have, in my terms, a middle-class Kyrie Irving. Kyrie was a great fit for this Cavs team, and that's something they wanted to replicate with Isaiah Thomas, but so far it's not working out. But with Kemba Walker, he plays similar offensively to Kyrie Irving, obviously not as good as Kyrie Irving, but he's similar. On the offensive side of things, Kemba is more or less a complete scorer and has actually been averaging over 21 points a game since the 2015-16 NBA season. And with that, his three-point shot has been getting better every single year. Walker also knows how to balance playing on the ball and off the ball, and that's something that's going to bode really well for this Cavs team. Last year in Boston, it was all about Isaiah Thomas. Everything on the offensive end ran through him, and now he comes to Cleveland, and it's all about LeBron James on the offensive end, and Isaiah is the second option, something that he is not used to. Kemba Walker, on the other hand, is used to playing off the ball, and he seems like a much more natural fit than Isaiah Thomas when you consider his playing style and the offensive importance of both LeBron James and Kevin Love. And speaking of Kevin Love, Kemba is also one of the best point guards when it comes to pick and roll. Walker has been a pick and roll ball handler for over 50% of his possessions this season, and he's averaging a point per possession so far. That's a really good average for any point guard in the NBA. Now team him up with a guy like Kevin Love, or a guy like Channing Frye, or a guy like LeBron James, and you've got a group of teammates who can play very well together offensively, something that we haven't seen with Isaiah Thomas and the rest of the Cavs crew. Now let's get to the defensive side of things. Isaiah is 5'9", and as hard as he may try, simply put, he may never be a great defender in the NBA. But Kemba Walker, on the other hand, is slightly better. He isn't an amazingly great defensive point guard, but he'll get the job done. His ability to fight over screens and his defensive awareness on rotations are areas where he's going to be a much better fit than Isaiah or Irving ever was. He's a better defensive point guard than Kyrie and Isaiah, and that's something that the Cavs so desperately need, because they don't have a guard who can defend opposing star point guards. Who's going to defend Steph Curry in the finals? Who's going to defend James Harden? Right now, the Cavs don't have anybody. And with Kemba Walker, at least you're getting better help than with Isaiah Thomas. Not to mention, Kemba still has 2 years left on his deal, so even if LeBron leaves, you've got your insurance in Kemba Walker. Now, as much as I love Isaiah Thomas, I mean, he's one of my favorite players in the NBA, he's just not a great fit with this Cavs team. You know, if the Cavs can bring in some better defensive players, possibly like an Avery Bradley or someone like that, then keeping Isaiah Thomas would make sense, but honestly, defensively, Isaiah is really hurting this team. Don't get me wrong, he can put the ball in the basket better than most, but defensively, he's worse than almost every single other point guard in the NBA, and that's an issue because, you know, come June, you're in the NBA Finals playing against Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, guys that are going to kill you offensively, and if you can't defend that, how are you going to win? So with the trade deadline tomorrow, we'll see what happens, but that's why I think the Cavs might trade Isaiah Thomas. He might stay, we'll see though. So that's going to do it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, also hit that like button. Shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video, but until next time, peace.